Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com, and it is Thursday, the 30th day of December, the second to last day of the year. Just a couple of announcements. We're closed tomorrow. So the Patriot offices are closed tomorrow. The radio stations, both KXXT and KHNC, are closed tomorrow. I believe I know Jason and Brian are going to do a special Fake News Friday show tomorrow, but by and large, most of the rest of the lineup is going to be off. Reminder in Phoenix is also going to be closed on Monday. If you want to listen live for you Phoenix folks on Monday, go to 1360khnc.com and you can stream the show. We'll still have the podcast and all of that stuff up as well, but I just wanted to let everyone be aware on Monday in Phoenix you will hear this show one more day, and then we'll be back to our regular schedule. We've got just one quick announcement. Also, the Rev, who does the advanced survivalist program that he does at Warriors Revolution. There was classes scheduled for tonight and Saturday. The Rev is under the weather, so those classes are canceled. So the survivalist training classes that were scheduled for Thursday, tonight, and then on Saturday, those have been canceled.
Postponed, Joe. Postponed.
Postponed. Sorry. Well, yeah.
Push back 2 weeks.
They're going to move to the 13th and the 15th.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, I just want to make sure. Yeah, nobody's going to miss any classes.
Yeah, but yeah, if you show up at Warriors tonight or Saturday, Paul has been under the weather, and just to err on the side of caution, we're postponing those. Just want to let you know, and we'll make those announcements a few more times throughout the day, just as a reminder. And that voice you heard, my partner Jason, who runs the mothership up there in Colorado. We got my son Joey's here today as well. And Joey, good morning. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, right, to everybody out there. Be safe out there. Be smart out there. As you know, this is law enforcement's favorite time of the year. Get in an Uber or a Lyft, or better off just, bunker down in your house and just party with yourself, right? I mean, it's always safer that way. I know. For me, here's what I do. You want a tip for me? I celebrate the New York New Year's because that's only like 10 o'clock. And that's already past my bedtime, as Joey will attest. So I count that as good enough, Jason.
Yeah, that's a good way to go. I mean, the older you get, the less New Year's Eve doesn't really have a lot of luster. And in Colorado, we're going to have our first actual real snow on the ground tomorrow evening. So there'll be a little extra slipping and sliding as it snows into the evening and into early Saturday, New Year's Day. So snow. We've had feet. Joe, I don't know how much you've been keeping track, but feet and feet and feet of snow in the mountains the last few weeks. So tons and tons of snow in the mountains, which is most important for Arizona. But no snow has been really on the ground here. It's the latest I've ever seen that I think anybody in Colorado's ever seen. Snow on the ground, and it's finally going to get some, maybe 4 to 6 inches, depending on what happens on tomorrow night.
Well, you know what? I know everywhere, water, and more water. So let it snow out there, and hopefully it snows in the right places. It's so funny you say that. Yeah, we need it in the mountains, and it needs to be, I don't know what side of the Rockies it's got to be on, so it melts and gets into the Colorado River. But hopefully they're loading it up for us this year. As we get into things, not a lot of things to talk about today. Gold's up 18.10 now, up almost $4. Silver is up 20 cents here, back above $23. It's pretty thin trading everywhere. I really like how gold and silver responded yesterday. They tried to, and again, just the day traders trying to make a few bucks, try to drive it down. Gold and silver responded very, very well. And again, yesterday we told you the first quarter, 18 out of the last 21 years. We've seen the gold markets rally in the first quarter every time. The 3 years that it didn't, the next year always was a really good year. And 2020 was one of the 3 year, or 2021. I'm sorry, 2021. I'll get it right. 2021 was one of the 3 years that it was down. So, Jason, we're expecting a pretty good start to 2022 for the gold markets.
Yeah, the more I look at it, 2022 is going to be really good for gold, good for silver. There's multiple ways in which gold and silver can go up next year because of the conditions in the market. So, anytime gold and silver has a down year as far as overall price, Joe, it only usually lasts like 1 year in this modern cycle. Sometimes maybe two, but it's not going to last. Whatever the price was at the beginning of 2021 and ending 2021, 2022 is going to be a plus year for sure. There's just no way around it, Joe.
And, when you look at all of these things, I think this is kind of everyone kind of looks at 2021 as the year, at least I do anyway, the year of the Fed lie. And unfortunately, now that the lie is over, 2022 may become the year of reality. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe Jaquint, Jason Walker. We got Joey here in studio. Gold's up 6 now, 18.12. Silver up 23 cents here, 23.10. I didn't talk about this, but I got to bring it up. So apparently, there was a French fry shortage for McDonald's in Japan. Okay, so this happened right around Christmas. And they had to start rationing the French fries. And, of course, immediately I started freaking out. Because you know how we get. Heaven forbid McDonald's runs out of a McNugget, right? And people lose their mind. I couldn't imagine. How bad would it be if McDonald's wasn't able to get you your French fries? I mean, probably every news cycle would be another person hopping the drive-through window, going over the counter, trying to assault McDonald's employees because they didn't have no French fries. Could you imagine a Happy Meal with apple slices? No thanks. Pass on that. But don't worry. Don't worry. Because Flexport, they do a lot of freight business, air freight. They contracted 3 Boeing 747s filled with potatoes to help Japan's McDonald's holding with its French fry crisis. And of course, immediately I went to, wait a minute, if you send 3 cargo planes of potatoes over there, are we going to run out of potatoes over here? Like, hold on a minute. I mean, I don't see a lot of situations, Jason, where the Japanese consumer freaks out and starts assaulting people like they do here in America.
Yeah, boy, this is going to sound kind of funny, but McDonald's could actually curb this problem next time. They could actually, just like the strategic oil reserves, you could have a strategic McDonald's French fry reserve, and let me tell you why you can do this. The worst thing for your body to eat at McDonald's is the French fries. There is some sort of preservative in the oil that makes it so the French fries don't break down. I watched this show some years ago, and they showed how, I got the local burgers and I got the McDonald's burger, and they're showing how they would break down because you actually want your food to rot and break down. They put them under glasses and everything. The local restaurant French fries broke down. But the one thing after weeks and weeks and weeks that never broke down was the McDonald's French fries, Joe. So maybe McDonald's should fry up several tons of them and put them in a warehouse, and they'll have a strategic
The strategic French fry store.
Think about it. Have you ever seen a McDonald's French fry under your seat and it looks like you can still eat it?
Yeah, you know what? It's true.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. I'm hearing you say this, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. There was a McDonald's French fry in my car when I was younger that was probably there for like 6 months and literally did look like you could probably still eat it.
No mold growing on it, Joe.
Even the ants don't want it. You know it's bad when that happens. Yes, but don't worry. This is Japan, not China. Don't worry, Japan. You got some potatoes heading your way. McDonald's blaming it for the flooding in Vancouver. So we got record high, well, almost record high lumber prices for that flooding in Vancouver, and apparently a French fry shortage because of it. Flexport said they were considering a humanitarian relief operation, but instead decided that they would go with the for-profit side of the operation, Jason. So Flexport not doing it out of the kindness of their hearts, but French fries coming to a Japanese McDonald's near you. I just hope that doesn't mean that they run out here in America. I mean, you talk about Civil War, McDonald's running out of French fries. That may just be enough.
Someone must have figured out that sales of McDonald's doesn't drop as far here as maybe in Japan if there's no French fries, so they had to get them there.
I don't
know. Don't upset the Japanese. They'll boycott us, but the Americans we can figure out how to no French fry them.
And then another breaking story, and this is again not on a good front for us here at home. Samsung and Micron now warning China's locked down that city Yian, which has been locked down now for well over a week. Matter of fact, the lockdown has gotten even worse. In China now is laying out bags of vegetables in front of the housing complexes there, and one by one you get called out. One person gets called out. You pick up your bag and bring it back to your dwelling, and that's what you have to eat. That's all you can. They won't even let you now you can't go to the supermarket, can't do any of that. They'll just drop off, and apparently you don't get to pick. China, they don't mess around. Hey, whatever's in the bag, that's what you get. And apparently, Jason, they had a few citizens that were brave enough to break the quarantine rules. China paraded them out in the streets.
Oh, no.
They were all head to toe. They had the full-blown, hazmat suits on, and they had the big, like posters that they draped over, like A-frames draped over them with their a full-blown picture of the person, so everybody knew who broke the curfews. So that the reason why the curfew was getting worse, China wanted to let them know the reason why the curfew is getting worse. Here's the guys. Here's the evildoers out there. But this city apparently produces a lot of the memory chips. And now Samsung and Micron Technologies, they're the, two of the world's largest memory chip makers came out today and said, hey, if this thing continues, we're going to have a problem now with memory chips.
Yeah, that's going to make things much worse, Joe. I was looking at Taiwan and how the largest percentage of chips is coming from there, and how China's positioning themselves just to take back Taiwan. And it doesn't look like America or anyone's going to stop them. That'll make it even worse, Joe. What you just think if China goes back into Taiwan, takes that place over, and then they have the chip monopoly, so to speak. And if one city being down affects chips, can you imagine with China having control of Taiwan, what could happen?
Yeah, and again, we gave it all away, and we need to seriously. Of course, we've been saying this forever. We need to seriously rethink that policy. Unfortunately, the Trump administration's kind of started down that path. And then, Biden's in, and of course we're right back in it once again. Just more pressure when we talk about what's going to happen in 22 with all the inflation and all of those pressures that are building up. It looks like more of the same. Unfortunately, as we head into 2022, we've got shortages. We've got inventory issues. It doesn't matter. We had bad weather. Oh, wait a minute. We've got a lockdown. Oh, hey, there was a tornado. There was a hurricane. You name it. Somebody's got a problem. We don't have enough parts, right, to repair the equipment to get the stuff. I still can't figure out that all of a sudden we forgot how to unload ships at the ports, which just continues to be a major point of contention. And of course, yesterday we told you about food prices as they are. I mean, I've never, ever heard companies come out and say we're going to increase prices 20% on food. I mean, that's, Jason, something we've never seen.
Well, and other parts of the world have seen this, and in history they have seen this. So I think Americans think that we're immune to this, and, well, I mean, apparently not, right?
Yeah, well, how about this? Egg prices, get ready. They've already been on the move. They're going to move a lot more coming in 2022, according to Cal Maine Foods. By the way, they are the largest U.S. producer of eggs. They account for over 20% of the entire egg market, and they said that they expect wholesale egg inflation to continue to skyrocket as egg prices rose 12% from the previous year, and said that they expect to continue to raise prices going into 2022 as there continues to be, well, you name it, supply disruptions, labor cost, the cost of the actual chickens, the soy feed, all of these things more expensive, and they said, citing unfavorable weather, whatever that means, as to look for at least another 12% rise in egg prices in 2022.
And Joe, it just takes, like I keep saying this, when you read all these numbers of things getting more expensive, all it takes is a minor emergency, and suddenly it even goes up even more. It could be 50%. Which, hey, we all know, we've all heard about bird flu. What if you have to kill a couple of million chickens because some disease? Because this is the age of disease, right, Joe? So what would that do to the prices on top of it?
Well, you know what? It's funny you bring that up. Israel has a major bird flu outbreak and has now placed an emergency egg order. So that was not factored into the article I just shared with you. So to Jason's point, and this is the problem, it's everything. It's any little thing. And it doesn't matter if it happens here, if it happens halfway around the world, if it happens in another state, another country, on the land, on the sea, in the air. All of these things, seemingly any little crisis anywhere, and all of a sudden we got these huge price spikes on top of already huge price spikes.
And Joe, it wouldn't be this bad if you didn't have overly government taxation and theft from central banks across the world taking their chunk of skin off our backs. You know, if this wasn't happening, we could absorb these sorts of minor emergencies. It wouldn't be a big deal, but because of the way the system is, and they're taking so much, every little percent they can take is being took, and there's not a lot of room for emergencies, Joe. There's just not enough room.
And part of this, you got to remember, too, tax.
Yep.
Right. So maybe the tax rate didn't go into, like in where I live, the sales tax is over 8%. Well, if the cost of everything jumps up 10%, well, the tax of that goes up as well, right? Because you're paying the tax on the dollar value. So it's just incredible what we're seeing here. Really quick, before we get to Joey, we're going to talk about insurance, term and long, short-term, long-term, all of those things. And he's got some great ways to save you guys a ton of money. But we've got a couple of items. Remember, and these are live in Colorado. Jason has this. This was an estate. We've got a couple of unique items for you today. We have 9 1-ounce platinum maple leaf coins at $1,075. So that's like $100 over, which is really cheap. Everywhere I was looking, about $1,100 per. So we've got them at 1,075. We've only got 9 of them. So if you're looking for an alternative, the other white meat, if you will, forever and ever and ever, for decades, platinum has always been more expensive than gold. We've had this anomaly now playing out for like the last 3 years or so. But sooner or later, the platinum market is going to catch up, and I just think it's so well priced. We've got 9 of those at 1,075, and then we've got 95 Austrian 1 ducats. That is their version of a 10th ounce gold eagle, but they have actually 0.11 ounces. So it's actually got just a tiny bit more gold than a 10th ounce, but it's the price that makes it so attractive. We got 95 of these for $225. So that's $30 less than a 10th ounce American Gold Eagle, and you get a little bit more gold on top of it. So a great fractional value there on the 1 ducats. We got 95 of those at 800-951-0592. We'll be back with Joey. We're going to talk insurance. 800-951-0592, the 1 ounce platinum. These are maple leaf coins. So coins, even, in the platinum market, you have bars, you have the coins. The coins are definitely the more desirable. We've got 9 of those at 1,075. And then these 1 ducats, really cool. A little bigger than a 10th ounce. They're 0.1107. But you get a little more gold in it, but as far as fractional gold and that fractional, you're not going to find anything cheaper anywhere out there. Matter of fact, a lot of the places out there I was looking online, they want $250, $260, $225 on those 1 ducats at 800-951-0592. So we got Joey here. Joey works at Northwestern Mutual, is becoming a bigger part of the radio station and part of our plans for the future. Jason's got Jack working there. I've got Joey here and trying to set up everything for the future. But you're here today. We've talked about help people with IRAs and 401ks, annuities, right? You do all of that stuff. But the last part, and probably the most important part, insurance. I'm talking about term insurance, talking about long-term care insurance and those things. So I want to break this down into segments. And let's start with the older folks. So let's just say you're in your later 60s and 70s. When it comes to insurance, how does that bucket fit?
Yeah, so when you're older, later 60s, later 70s, obviously the insurance is going to be expensive. That's just how it is. Insurance companies aren't dumb. The older you are, the more likely you are to pass away and then have to pay out. But what we can do is kind of shop around and show you all the different policies. Long-term care, that's going to be very expensive, being at that age. But we're able to shop around. Being at Northwestern Mutual, I can offer you their products and anyone else's products. And then we could eventually look at, the permanent insurance and then give something down, pass it down like a legacy.
Right, and we were talking beforehand. So Joey's first of all, you're a fiduciary, so you're always going to operate in your client's best interest. Really important when it comes to that, because the ones that aren't, they tend to only can sell whatever products the company they work for are offering.
They'll just try to sell you the most expensive thing.
Right, the high margin stuff. So, and we've already talked about you've got the lowest fees out there, but let's talk about this, because you said for the older folks, a lot of them call you because they're, okay, I'm getting worried now. I may need long-term care, but that's probably, you're saying, not the best option if they're already, if you're already late 60s into your 70s, because it's going to be way too expensive.
It's going to be super, super expensive. That's why we kind of just look at the permanent insurance thing, trying to get like maybe $50,000, $100,000 worth of permanent insurance just to cover your assets. That way, if you do pass away, your kids aren't paying anything, and then maybe even giving them some money and passing it down.
Right, and then you could also usually have some options where they could use some of that money for long-term for their long-term care.
Yeah, so the cash value will build up over time. It's not going to look pretty the first 5 years. It's more of a long-term investment. but you'll eventually be able to pull out that cash value and pay for anything, any emergency funds, anything like that, long-term care. Maybe your house flooded, you got to do that. It's just a great emergency fund to have.
So that's something for the older folks. Let's talk about the younger ones, because this is really where things go. Because you can buy, if you're, say, in your 20s or early 30s, something like that, term insurance really inexpensively.
Yeah, and it's very important, too. It's like $25, $50 a month of term, if you're like 27 years old, depending on how much you buy. And the best thing about it is that, let's say you bought it when you're 27, fast forward to when you're 40, and, unfortunately you got cancer. That would mean you're uninsurable. But since you got this term insurance when you're 27, it locked your health in. So you can still buy insurance and convert to permanent insurance even though you had cancer and you're uninsurable. It's just a way of locking in your health and making sure we can protect you down the road when life throws you a curveball.
So there's a couple of different reasons. Even if you're younger, like, well, maybe, maybe you're not married yet. Maybe I don't have a family yet, or a house yet. There's benefits to buying some insurance at that age. Because when you get older, certain things, so I did not know this, because thankfully for us, knock on wood, cancer doesn't really run in our family that much. But as soon as you get a cancer diagnosis, that's it for insurance?
Yeah, they won't touch you anymore.
Unless you already have some.
Yep. Unless you already have, like, if you have term insurance right now and you got cancer, then the very next day you got cancer, you are still insurable through Northwestern Mutual or whatever policy you bought.
So keep that in mind. Then you also said, listen, term insurance, you can buy. Term insurance is like paying for automobile insurance, right?
It's like renting a house.
Right, right. You renting a house, paying car insurance. If you don't use it,
it just goes away.
It goes away. But you said there's things that you can do a mix where you said, hey, you can buy mostly term to keep your costs down.
Yep.
But add a little bit of what you call permanent insurance, and then as you get older, you can convert that term to permanent and really supercharge your getting a cash value.
Yeah, we call that blended term. So that's a little mixture of permanent insurance and then more heavy on the term side. And this is awesome for if you're younger, 27, 28, because one, it just gives you a cash value with the permanent insurance and gives you the ability to convert down the road as you see fit.
And when you convert, though, here's the difference, too. Anytime you get insurance, you got to pass.
You got to pass the medical test. But when you convert, you don't have to do a medical test again. You got no needles coming in you. It's a one-time thing. We keep your medical history locked in.
And then when you convert, and as you get older, like everything else, insurance costs more for everybody, right? The older you get, the more it costs. But if you buy it younger and you do a blended policy, it reverts back to when you were younger.
Yes. It'll actually revert back to your health at that age, and then it'll average out the ages from when you converted. So let's say you buy when you're 30, you convert some of the term when you're 40, it's averaged out at 35.
And big time money saving. So we've got the older folks, the younger folks. What about the people in the middle? Maybe they've bought term insurance, and I'll use me as an example, right? I bought term insurance, and mine's getting ready to end.
Right.
Here in my 50s.
Yep.
And going into that next round can be really, really expensive. But if you bought it maybe in your 40s or whatnot, you can actually do things to save people money later on as their terms are getting ready to expire and things like that.
Yeah, so the thing about term, when you're older, term starts to get super expensive when you're 55, 60, 65. That's kind of when you want to start thinking about the permanent insurance, because eventually the benefit will outweigh the cost for the permanent insurance. The biggest thing is just making sure that you have some sort of cash value locked in, in your middle age group, so that way by the time retirement comes, you have that cash value to pull from during emergency times.
Just putting money in people's pockets. Actually buying insurance that pays you back down the road. We'll be back with a little more Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. Gold keeps rallying here. 800-951-0592. Gold's up $9 here, 18.15. Silver up 25 cents, 23.12. And we're talking with Joey, talking about insurance. I'll just say this. And I've learned a lot from him, and why I love having him on, because he can just He's already done a bunch for mom and dad. Get some insurance. And the younger you do it, the better, because he's going to be able to help you do a lot of things later when you have it. And even if you're older, he's going to help you. He's got so many ways to save you money. Listen, they created so many stinking tax loopholes for the millionaires and the billionaires, and he's going to make sure you can take full advantage of it. But the one thing we're saying, listen, anybody can get term insurance. They can call you right now. If you're young, you can get $250,000 worth of term insurance for $25 a month. I mean, it's easy to do, and that's great. Fine, we'll do it. But if you can afford $100 a month, you can really do some great things with the blended stuff and really have them pay dividends later on as well.
Right. And every person's different. Everyone makes a different amount of money. It's all about maximizing your potential and what we can do with you. And, like my dad said, there are loopholes that the rich use that we can use as well. They just don't want to teach you about or educate you on it. I'll make sure you know what's going on. We'll find those loopholes. And it's the biggest thing about insurance, it's a way to avoid taxes. A great way to avoid taxes. You put money in the policy, the money grows tax deferred, and you can take it out tax free. The death benefit is tax free. Overall, we're just giving Uncle Sam the smallest slice of the pie as we can, and making sure you get to use most of the money that you earned throughout your life.
How do people get a hold of you?
You can reach me at 602-909-9048. Again, my number is 602-909-9048.
And again, we have Joey's information here. You can always call Patriot. Jason's got it up there at the radio station as well. And let's talk a little bit long-term care, because my mom and I we bought long-term care here, and it is by far the most expensive part of insurance, right? Because more and more people are ending up with the dementias, right? The debilitating stroke that leaves them bedridden and all these other things like that. So it's costing a lot more. But you have a lot of programs out there. Cost is the cost.
Yep.
But things where if you don't use it, the money doesn't go away.
Yeah, if you don't use it, hopefully you never have to use it is what we hope for. The money isn't just going to go away with our long-term care policies. It'll go to your beneficiaries, your kids, whoever it may be. There are standalone long-term care policies that are cheaper, but unfortunately when you do pass away, that money doesn't go anywhere. So it's all about just looking at all the different products and what fits best for you and what's in your budget.
And essentially, you'll give them all of those options as well, because that's something where you get a lot of those calls, and people, and mostly like myself, I'm getting older now. I'm starting to think about it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, think about it a little younger. There could be a lot of benefit to that. But how about this? So when people buy insurance, the one thing that is a given, somebody's going to come and draw some blood.
Yep.
Right? They're going to ask the questions, right? Do you smoke? We'll talk about smokers here in a minute. But the one thing you said, you've had a lot of wealthier, seemingly wealthier. It's funny how you said it too, with some issues with the health part of the test.
Yeah, it's, if you have a test scheduled, and it will schedule together, you'll have at least a month notice, 3 weeks notice. Lay off the drugs or whatever it may be that you do in your free time for those 3 weeks. Take the test. Once the test is done, go out, party, have fun, do whatever it is you want to do. It's actually kind of crazy how you see some successful people get declined because they couldn't just hold off for 3 days, and it's just. Yeah,
he mentioned the cocaine word.
The cocaine was out there with some of these big ballers,
and he's like, Dad, it's like 3 days. They know it's coming. So be smart about it. Let's talk about smokers.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Smoking, it'll probably increase your premiums by double your premiums. It's a tough thing to go about. Obviously, don't go around telling your doctors you ripped a vape yesterday or you hit a cigarette, because that all gets documented and then told to the insurance companies. But the thing is, you have to quit smoking at least 3 months before your test. Now, I could be wrong. It might even be 3 years. of them knowing.
Well,
if
you told your doctors that you smoked, then the insurance companies are going to find that out.
They're probably going to find it out if you've told them multiple times, yeah. And then that'll just classify you as a smoker right away. Because, they're not just talking to you. They're going to go talk to your doctor, and they're going to find out your medical history. The insurance companies are not dumb. They have to make some money, too.
Right, they do their homework.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. There's a reason why Northwestern Mutual is the best, is they're the best at doing their homework.
And let's just talk about this, and I know we've done it before, but one last time here. You're the only AAA-rated company out in the marketplace. Yep. You guys have some of the best plans in the world. You guys refer to Vanguard as your little brother. I mean, that just kind of gives you the size and scope of what you guys do.
Yeah, we work with Vanguard a lot. They're a great company. They're part of our investment fund. We teach some of their advisors, and they come over and give us some advice. But yeah, we work with all the major companies. Honestly, we just get along with everybody.
Well, that's the thing too. If they deal with you, you have availability to everybody's plans.
Yeah, exactly. We're an insurance company and we're an asset management company. We kind of we do the whole portfolio and see the bigger picture and making sure that, we get where you want to go.
Same thing with insurance. Do you work the same way? Because, in the 401ks, the IRAs, and all that stuff, you're checking in every quarter, making sure everything's good. Does the same thing apply on the insurance side?
Yeah, it does apply, not every quarter, but the big thing is your investments and your insurance go hand in hand to benefit for tax planning.
There you go. Joey, thank you for being here. We're going to wrap up this last hour of the week here because of the holiday. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment of the week. Remember, we are closed on Friday. Colorado, the radio station, will be closed on Friday. Phoenix, remember, KXST is closed on Friday and Monday. And then, so we'll be back on Tuesday. We still got a few of those platinum maple leafs at 1,075, and the very fractional one ducat, the best fractional price on that, 10th ounce is actually just a little bigger than a 10th ounce. They're $225. That's $30 less than an American Gold Eagle. And I'm not a huge, foreign gold fan at all, but, when there's that kind of value, it just makes sense to add those to your portfolios. Before we wrap it up here, if you guys want to get Joey, give your contact information one more time.
Yeah, you can reach me at my cell, 602-909-9048. Again, 602-909-9048.
And you can call, you can text them at that as well. Whether it's just straight term insurance, for $250,000 for $25 a month, or some type of blended or cash value or long-term care or whatever it may be, Joey's going to take great care of you and get it covered.
And I want to add to that the one ducat, these are brilliant uncirculated. They're bigger than a 10th ounce eagle, but they're thin. So it's kind of an interesting looking coin. It's pretty cool. I just want to add that these are really shiny gold coins, brand new.
Yeah, so these are the BU, the one ducat, and the ducats are it's interesting how they do it there. Even their bigger ducats are really thin, almost sharp-like on the edges, Jason.
Yeah, and pretty cool. To get essentially a little more than a 10th ounce of gold for the price that we're offering is unbeatable for gold. So if you want an ounce of gold today, buy 10 of these. The premiums are a little higher than an ounce of gold because they're 10th ounce, but buy 10, buy 20 of them. Soak up the cheap gold.
For every 10 you buy, you end up with an extra 10th of an ounce.
That is correct. You get 1.1 ounces.
It sure makes a lot of sense. 800-951-0592. We do have a few of those MS65 Morgans. Jason ran those yesterday afternoon. We actually didn't run them in Phoenix. They were $170. That's $20 below cost. That's about, Jason and I were looking at these, that's a $40, $50 less than anybody else in the marketplace. So if you're looking for some higher end silver, we got about 30 MS65 Morgans.
Brilliant uncirculated. Brilliant uncirculated. These are very, very lustrous. These are the nicest Morgan dollars you'll buy, Joe.
Yeah, and these were NGC graded.
All NGC graded. So yeah,
there you go. There you have it. As we close out here, gold's up 9, 18.15. Silver's up 25 cents, back firmly over $23 to the ounce. The Dow's up 20 points right now. The S&P and the NASDAQ also. So kind of higher all the way around today. It's obviously a very shortened day. Not a lot of trading going on as we get ready for the new year. Everybody out there have a happy and safe new year. Be safe out there. God bless everybody. And the Patriot Radio News Hour will be back on Monday in Colorado. And then Tuesday we'll be back in Phoenix as well. Take care.